Hello, this is Ryan DeRusso. I believe I'm live on LinkedIn at the moment, but hopefully we will see soon. I'm trying to see in the corner of my eye. But I'm Ryan DeRusso. I'm a fee-only financial advisor. Thanks for joining me today. You can see beautiful Long Island behind me. I'm in my office today, and this is where I'm based. But really, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to talk about a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart, which is sort of the community side of building your business and improving your finances. In reality, what happens is when we are going out on our own, suddenly we are on our own. There's no one there to help us, there's no one there to guide us, and it can be a very isolating thing. A little story about when I first started to do what I did, or what I do now, is when I decided to go out on my own, there's an entire community of financial advisors that are connected through a fee-only group called XYPN. And so when I went on my own, I joined this group not only so I could get an understanding of sort of proper steps to get compliance and all the things that I had to do on my end to get up and running, but also because if I had questions, I needed someone to really lean on. And the more that I talk with therapists in the private practice space, the more I am seeing that there's not a ton of opportunity to do that. And this can have some dire impact, not only on the business, but on the finances. Because when we go and we start working for ourselves in the private practice space, it's just a fact that, being self-employed is one of the most isolating career paths that we can choose. It's Studies have found that those who work for themselves feel more isolated. It comes natural because not all of us have like a number of employees working for us. But even if we do, we're the ones making decisions. There's no like someone that we can lean on for help or advice a lot of times. And so then it leads us to kind of weigh those decisions and feel very isolated. And so what can this do for the business, and what does this do to the finances? It can have a dramatic impact, because if we're not feeling good about ourselves, as you all speak to clients every day probably about this, what can it lead to? It can lead to bad behavior in some sort of way. On the financial side, it can lead to splurge spending. So, we talk about retail therapy, but like that's kind of what it is. I mean, essentially, like, we're isolated, we need to feel good about ourselves, so we're going to go out and we're going to spend. But it can have other smaller impacts, because we're feeling isolated, we don't want to go out and buy groceries, so we're going to go get DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. And slowly, methodically, we're spending way more than we need to. And so not only has this had an impact on our business because maybe we're less motivated, but now it's also impacting our finances. And that's where I see a lot of impact. But there can be some other ways. One, when we go into retirement, so when someone's in their 60s or 70s, one thing that we see a lot is a real tough time kind of going from save to spend. And it's a very difficult process, one where people need to feel very comfortable in doing so. But when you're isolated all the time, what could happen is the exact opposite effect, in that you're afraid to spend, you don't care about spending, and so you underspend. And so that's a different side of the same coin, really, but it speaks to that isolation aspect, where if you're a business owner who is afraid to spend or doesn't want to spend, it may be because there's no real outlet to spend. And then fourth, from just like a long-term business planning standpoint, like another way that really impacts us is if we're just isolated, we're feeling down about ourselves, we don't really feel motivated, we're not going to put in the effort that's required to build that business into something that we need and something that's going to like thrive for the future. And so this is where really kind of solving that idea of isolation and building a community around the business and your finances is so important. But it's so not natural to what we do and how we are taught. When you were growing up, you were probably taught never to talk about finances. If you asked your parents about questions about finances, it's very possible that one, they might not have known the right answer, but they didn't want to talk about it. In fact, oftentimes I talk to clients where money was a real sour point with their family, parents, brothers, sisters, whatever. And so because of this, because they never talked about it, they never really learned. And so there's a lot of shame built up. And so now we don't want to talk with others. We're isolated. We don't want to talk about others about our business. We don't want to talk to others about our finances. So where are we going to go for help? We don't go anywhere. And that ends up becoming kind of builds on itself. It compounds on itself and becomes really problematic over time. And then on top of that, when you went through your PhD program or your master's program, you probably never took a class in running a business, how to build a business, any sort of thing. And while this is, I find to be real shame, since so many folks in the therapy space end up going into private practice, it's also kind of a lost opportunity on your part because it leaves you at a disadvantage. And then if you add in the fact that you're isolated and find finances to be shameful, it makes for a trifecta of very difficult outcome in order to overcome all those sorts of things. And then the third thing I see often is that there's just not a community to share. And so even if you notice that you're isolated and that you need help with the business and you need help with your finances, you don't necessarily know a community to lean on. You may be a member of the APA. They may have some, meetups and stuff like that in your area, and you may or may not go. But there's outside of Facebook groups, there's not a whole lot of ways to really connect with other therapists. And that's really the three things that I see. I see that one, we're not taught these things. Two, that there's not a ton of great resources out there, whether we're building our business or we're building our finances. And then three, there's no community to share it. And I've kind of learned this through many, many conversations I have with private practice owners since I work with them on a day-to-day basis. And because of that, I actually wanted to help bring that together. And so I am going to share my screen real quick and show you something I have created. And this is, okay. Hopefully you're seeing this. And what this is a community that I have just launched in a platform called Skool, Skool. And it's specifically for private practice owners, therapists that run their own practice, or those who eventually want to, own their own practice one day. And these are just screenshots of the community right now because I don't want to accidentally show someone's name or questions or anything like that. But essentially what this is a place for people to go to get either financial or private practice help. What I want this to become is a place for any sort of question that you have in how to build a private practice, where to find resources for your private practice, how do you find a lawyer, how do you find a marketer, how do you find a compliance person, all these things, even how you find maybe employees down the line. You can come here and either lean on the community or reach out to the community and find help. And so this is the front of the community. And I just kind of want to walk through it with you real quick to show you sort of all that it can provide and the potential that it has. And let me just check to make sure that everything is okay. Great. And say hi to Andrea. See that? So that's great. And so as we scroll down, let's I'm going to walk you through some of the stuff that's happening on the community right now. So one, you can get a sense of it. And then two, after the end of this LinkedIn Live, I'll pass along a link to you. You can have free access. It'll be free access for life if you use that link. And so here is where we are sort of welcoming everyone who joins. And those that want to participate at this point are sharing where they're coming from, where their focus is. We have various different levels of focus, from those who are focused on trauma, those who use EMDR, those who are focused on children, and everything in between. And so no matter what your sort of specialty, this is an area where, one, I want you to be able to lean on for guidance and help from the private practice community, since whatever you're dealing with, and haven't focused this on enough, whatever you're dealing with, someone else is also dealing with something similar. And so if we can create a space where you can seek that advice, you can seek that help about how to actually manage the business, how to actually run your finances, then you'll be in a lot better shape. And that's really what the goal of this community is. And so, what you'll see here is just on a daily basis, some tips from me or others in the space about how to manage certain parts of either your financial or business life. In this case, I'm talking about budgeting and some of the issues. And you can see that there's a lot of back and forth, like when we're approaching a subject, there's not one way to solve a problem. And so hearing from other voices is going to be really powerful for this. But it's not just about the finances, because we're going to talk about how to grow the business in the practice. And so here's one that just went out, not that long ago, but about sort of how to switch to private pay and the benefits of it, the downsides to it, all that sort of thing, since none of these is an all or nothing sort of decision. It's not just me on there. Folks are coming to this community to actually seek out advice. This person brand new to the space, wants to own their own practice one day, and is already trying to think about ways that she or he can do so, and seeking guidance from the community in that process. This is not a place, however, where you can go and expect to be sold to. We're not trying to do hard sells here of any services or anything like that. And in fact, if anyone were to do that, they would be kicked out of the community. Instead, what we want is resources available. So if you need a lawyer in Florida, you now know someone who is in Florida, has used a lawyer, you can go to that lawyer, that sort of thing. So no hard sells here. What we will be incorporating in some point is different Q&A sessions or live sessions kind of like this, where we're talking about marketing, or we're talking about some legal issues that you might need to think of. We're talking about how to set up the business from a compliance standpoint, how to manage your insurance panels, any sort of thing that you want to sort of talk about. You can let me know in the community, and I'll be sure to find someone who can really speak to that, not so they can sell you on it, but so you can actually get some good advice. I'll have some tax experts as well, since I know that's always an issue on the business and financial side. But the reason I chose this platform, Skool, for this specific community was because I could also build in classes. So we have the community growing, but then every month I'll also be releasing a set of classes that are going to be completely accessible to you. And the first course is Financial Foundations. We really walk through sort of how to budget, how I guide, others on budgeting. Next, we'll be doing managing your cash flow from your practice. From there, it'll be taxes. It'll be managing debt and using debt. It'll be how to read business statements and income statements, so you're gaining from that knowledge within your business, as well as like future looking stuff like how to save for retirement, how to invest, how to protect your assets, all those sorts of things. And you can see it's not just like one little course, but it's hours of courses. So you're able to then go and truly get some education and lessons from this. So one, we're reducing the shame, we're providing quality content that can help you solve your business and financial concerns. And then also, most importantly, that you can get a community to answer a lot of your private practice questions that you probably have experienced, and you wonder on a day-to-day basis. Because what happens is when those questions are coming, you may not When those questions come up, you might not have anyone to turn to or anything like that. And so they just sit there and they wait and wait and wait. And you wait and wait, wait. You get analysis paralysis, never sort of moving forward. And I want to end that, give you at least a tool in order to answer those questions so you can then move forward in your business and hopefully move forward in your wealth development and creation. So if you have RSVP'd for this session, you'll get an email from me, one with the video of this, as well as a free link to sign up to the Skool community so we can start building wealth together. We can start building our practice together and really start driving wealth in the private practice space where, let's face it, you all do amazing work. You should be able to afford the things that you want to afford and reach financial goals that you have for yourself. And in order to do that, we just need the lessons, we need the resources, and we need the community. And so hopefully this will help solve this. Let me know if there's any questions in the meantime. You see me on LinkedIn. You can contact me there or contact me at Skool on Skool community. But I'll talk to you again soon.